going on, guys? So I'm here on my front porch smoking some American Spirit organic, having some Leffe Belgian ale, 6.6%. I keep forgetting how high this shit is in alcohol content. I had two and I got up and I was like, what the fuck? So usually I try to keep it low, like 5%. 5.5, maybe 4.9, you know. But I wanted to make a video about you should be uploading every single day. You should be uploading videos every day. Now this goes for me too. I'm not exempt from this. You look at my channel, I have like almost 700 subscribers, but that was through a whole bunch of stuff that I've been doing throughout the last 15 years since I've had my YouTube channel. I used to, one of my favorite video games, Final Fantasy, specifically 7, 8, and 9. 10 is really good too. I used to take the MIDI files. I used to download the MIDI files from Final Fantasy 8. The MIDI, from my understanding of what a MIDI is, basically is like, so you have the soundtrack, and then you have the MIDI files where people are, it's kind of a basic, like the instruments, the basic instruments for the song, right? And then you put it in like GarageBand. I was using Mixcraft because I had a PC, right? Put it into Mixcraft, and then I would, they had all the instruments that were being played, and then I'd try to reorchestrate it. You could look at my old videos. I would try to basically remaster the soundtrack, which honestly was very fun, very, very fun. And then I had some videos, I think probably almost 10 years now back, where I was reacting to some. I think the highest I got, I was reacting to a Final Fantasy 15 trailer. And it's crazy because Final Fantasy 15 came out, I think like 10 years ago, about 11 years ago now. I remember really wanting that game. It was okay, they fucked with it a lot. But I reacted to that, I think I got like 7,000 views. And then I think that's where a lot of my subscriber base came from, and my MIDI files. Again, people be like, well, 700 isn't a lot, but it's all about your perspective. You know, it's like, well, 700 people that are watching me. Though, if you look at my videos right now, I'm not getting a lot of views. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about uploading every single day, you know? But I stand to that, and it keeps bumping in my head because I know that I need to upload every day, basically. Maybe there'll be a point where I'm not, and I'm still not, but I think it's important to upload my perspective on life every day, you know. Say you have a 9 to 5, right? You're working a job, and I hate scrolling and seeing these goddamn videos of these fucking probably young kids in their early fucking 20s talking about you need to quit your 9 to 5. And they just look like this. They're pissed off. They think they know what they're talking about. I am against that. You should not quit your 9 to 5, because especially if you are owning your own place, owning your own house, your own apartment, this place you can kind of come back to and relax and enjoy the beautiful view in a peaceful setting and have some stability in your life, so your life isn't so chaotic and your mind isn't racing everywhere. I do not condone that. I would almost say, I like watching this guy, he's called Dry Ringler. I'm probably saying it right, school or whatever, but he's like a cowboy almost, basically. But he has stability in his life. He's like 55, and I was listening to a good video of his earlier today. It's called Cowboy Up. You know, yeah, you get hurt a little bit, you know, unless it's so severe. You gotta amputate your leg, you know, knock on wood. You gotta amputate your leg or something. That's a different level. But it's like, okay, yeah, you're hurt. Get back up. Let's go. Let's make it happen. You know, when I used to skateboard, I've had some gnarly crashes, you know, and I would just get up. And I'll be like, all right, whatever. I don't need everybody around me to be like, oh, you okay? You okay? You okay? And it could be nice in its own setting and way or whatever. But I remember one time I was in Hollywood and I just fucking slammed because the sidewalk in Hollywood is so fucking smooth, and I slammed my stomach, like I slipped off my board and slammed my stomach on the sidewalk, and the air was out of me. And this guy walked by, he didn't say shit to me, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn, I didn't even say anything. But I ended up getting up, But I've had many other crashes where I'm just like, all right, yeah, get up, Don't be there like a little baby, Unless you really get yourself fucked up, There's levels to it, right? Um, but don't try to coddle yourself out of it. I know I'm going all over the place, but it's gonna be a decently sized video. Don't coddle yourself because you want the attention from other people. Just get up. What are you, some tough guy? Yeah, because mentally I'm able to push through the pain. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. I don't need you to be like, are you okay? Okay, I'm fine. Are you sure? Are you sure? I am sure. If I'm saying I'm fine, then that means I am sure. If there's something happening later on, then I'll say it. But that's it. I'm fine. It's okay. Cowboy up. Take care of your 9 to 5. So from my perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. No one can say shit to you. If you're paying your bills and you're taking care of yourself, that's your prerogative. That's you. You're taking care of your own shit. You can't. Why are you gonna? Anybody can say anything. What matters is that, in my mind, that you can come back to a place and relax. And you need to relax. Yeah, you go work out. You go get jacked and stacked. You want to look hot. Nothing wrong with that either. But don't do that. I'm a true believer in that. And when I see those videos on YouTube, it just pisses me off. And I'm like, these people probably live with their fucking parents, or they already have a bunch of money. If you already have so much money to be able to do that, then do that. Then do it, yeah. But if you don't, I would definitely recommend do not do that. That is very dumb. It's very stupid. You might wind up in a place in your life where you are not stable at all and you're mentally all over the place. Because the shit in the back of your head is like, I need to take care of this, I need to take care of that. But my whole point here with this is we live in a good age. It's like bad and good, but that's always been any age at any time. They have their own shit. It's a balance. What your balance for you is different balance for me. We live in an age now where I can do something like this and record myself. And if God willing, I could actually get a big subscriber base and actually start making money off of this stuff. That is a goal of mine. And the voice in the back of my head is like, you need to upload every day. You can look at my videos, man. I got videos of just like 8 views, 7 views, 1 view. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going because what the regret is, you didn't try. The regret is you didn't try. But if you do fucking make it, you do start getting a lot of subscribers, you do start getting a lot of people watching your videos and shit like that, now you have a way out of that 9 to 5. Of that. You know what I mean? And I do think my mom would always say, too, idle hands are the devil's play toys. When you got something to do, then, you might be doing stuff that you don't need to be doing. But also, you're most likely, if you're watching this, you're a grown man. You might be in your 20s, you might be 30, you might even be 40. I have no fucking clue. People are people at the end of the day, and I don't think anybody's ever got it figured out. And anybody who talks in my mind like they got it figured out, they're fucking idiots. I think, though, wise people understand that you're always going to be, I believe, at least, right? You're always going to be figuring shit out. You might have more of a grasp on certain things. You might have experienced certain things. Like, let's say that I did karate for 10 years. And I'm explaining how to do a high kick or a fucking certain punch. Right? I have way more experience in how to do these type of things than somebody who's doing accounting. But somebody who's been doing accounting for 10 to 20 years, they have way more experience on that. You know what I'm saying? So nobody is the accomplishment of God. If you believe in Jesus, then then there's that. But you know, and I'm not against that. I like what Jesus stands for, what it is. But I have my own mind, and I think that every person, every kid comes out the womb, not right off the bat, but what is the most questions people ask is why? Why? Oh, why is that? Well, because the sun. Why? Well, then why is the blah blah blah? So you're telling me that God gave us this sense of curiosity to ask questions and figure shit out. And then as we get older, no, don't listen to that. Just listen to me, as I give you my insight of what I think the Bible is. And I'm not against the Bible, but I am a person who it's hard. I probably picked it up from my father. I have critical thought. I like to look at the nuance of things, the context, the nuance, and seeing what does this mean, what does that mean. You have a book that's been translated like 2,000 times throughout 2,000 years of history. I'm in my mind, I'm positive that a lot of those words that are being said or translated, you could be saying a word in like Arabic or some shit like that that has a totally different nuanced or contextual meaning than what is being translated in English, right? But I do believe that there is a higher power, 100%. You know, and also again, like I'm not a fucking guru over here. Not everything I'm saying is gospel. I'm just giving my fucking opinion. Not everything I'm saying is gospel. There are some things that are gospel. All right. So remind yourself of that. All right. Okay. But my whole point with this is that try, dude, try. And that's a voice that hits me in my head. I might be talking from a place like, look at you, you got barely any views, this, that, and third. But if I don't try, I'm going to look back 10 years from now and I'm going to be very upset. And it might work out. It might work out, so why? Might as well try. If you do the things you're already doing and just record it. You don't have to make fucking videos and slop in order to attract the algorithm. Or in order to attract the attentions of millions, like on some Mr. Beast shit. If that's your calling and you feel like that's the thing you want to do and you have the discipline to do that, by all means, brother, no hate. But like for me, I like to have some smokes. I like to work out. I do want to upload some working out videos, 100%. But I like to relax at times and have some tobacco and drink some beers and enjoy the beauty that's in front of me. And I'm like, well, that's probably why I like Jacob fucking Jones, or even Small Brain American at times. Where Jacob Jones is just smokes cigarettes, he'll drink alcohol, and this dude's got like 500,000 subscribers. That's his job now. He makes some money from that. So like to me, in my mind, what's hitting me in my mind is just keep uploading, because you never know, that one video might get you. That might just resonate with so many people, and then all of a sudden you got 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers. Now all of a sudden you're making. Maybe at some point you're making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Now you don't need a 9 to 5. Maybe you keep your 9 to 5. Maybe you go part time. Maybe you appreciate the structure that your 9 to 5 is giving you. Maybe you like to work out like I do, where you're like, oh, getting up in the morning is great. Oh, I gotta go to work. It sucks. But I don't think it's good to be fully complacent. I think it's all right to be content and be able to appreciate where you're at. But being complacent is like, oh, whatever. Example, right? So I live in this apartment. I have 2 other roommates here. This roommate right here, he's not here right now. He works from 5 to 1. And I've been having some people over, and he's been coming home. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I realize like his schedule on Sunday, he gets back at 11. And then on Saturday, I think he's home at 5 p.m. And I wasn't being as aware of that, right? So there was a couch here. I got back home today. The couch is gone. I mean, my landlord left the chairs, which is nice, but the couch is gone. It was a subtle way of being like, you gotta stop, you know. But I'm not gonna stop. But I'm gonna be more aware of like, okay, if I have guests over on a weekday or whatever like that, we're in my room because I'm all the way in the back. You can't hear me. You know what I mean? We need to be way more mindful. We need to make sure we're picking up the trash. That was the thing my landlord was getting on my ass about, was the trash. I had trash. I had like a bunch of trash bags and stuff like that hanging around because I don't want to do anything about it. And then life kicked my ass, and I was like, asked my friend if he could help me. His friend's dad helped me go to the dump the other day to take out the trash. But you got to take care. Even Jordan Peterson has a thing on that. He's like, if you try to ignore the dragon, then the dragon will consume. It'll get bigger. You can't just try to ignore the problem. And that's what I did. I was just like, oh, maybe he won't see it. I hid like 2 trash bags under the house in the back. Eventually, he saw it. You know what I'm saying? And even goes to my room too. I hope to God he doesn't go to my room. My room is a pigsty, dude. I piss in bottles, dude. I do. Because I don't feel like fucking getting up and walking all the way to the bathroom at the middle of the night because I'm fucking tired. There's a bottle right here, I'm gonna piss in it. I'm gonna piss in it and I'll dump it out. But I've collected piss bottles. I'm not shy to say that. You know what I mean? You can be like, oh, that's fucking sick. Yeah. I remember I had some friends in my room. I had a fucking piss bottle hanging out on my freaking desk. And I didn't even realize it because we're all freaking blasted drinking. You know, I was like, oh, fuck. No, they don't care. You know, they're like, yeah, whatever. You know, I mean, if my room is horrible is one thing, but there might be certain things. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you have to, no matter what level of life you're at, it might get easier with more money, 100%. But I think it's very important to take care of your due diligence. And I remember I was told this, I'm at 5% battery life here, so I guess I gotta make it quick, which is annoying. I remember I was living with my mom at the time. This wasn't too long ago. This was like 2 years ago, you know, and I was smoking a lot of weed at this time. I was a very flowy guy. And I was not like that when I was a kid, but you live and you learn, and now I'm a lot more trying to be on top of shit because I've had to experience shit that I was like, this doesn't work, this isn't good, this is not good for me, you know, this isn't right. But I remember I used to take this bus to my job, and this guy, he'd always be like, oh, make sure to take care of your due diligence. So I'm like, what's that? He's like, take care of the stuff, your structural foundation. Because when you have that stuff, like, if you're at a place, you're in an apartment, you have roommates, clean your shit up. I have to remind myself to clean my shit up. I got stuff up in here and all this, but I got to clean it up afterwards. So I don't have to deal with any of that. I don't have any of that stress weighing me down. I don't have to think in the back of my head like, oh shit, I left this garbage here. My landlord who loves to come here all the fucking time. Is he gonna see this? Am I gonna have to deal with this? You know what I mean? Just take care of it. You know? But, you know, at the end of the day, my whole point with this video is why not just upload? Just upload every day. If you are doing something, if you smoke tobacco and you got some thoughts on your mind, might as well upload it. Might as well make a fucking video about it. Because you never know who you're going to resonate with. You never fucking know, dude. I like to watch people like Elisha Long sometimes. There's this guy named Justin Shears. He doesn't have a lot of subscribers, but he talked about how he used to be really flowy and he called like the feminine state and stuff. I have a roommate like that. He's like, I didn't want to be because of his traumas. You know what I mean? I'm more of a tough cookie in a lot of ways. I'm not the toughest guy in the world. Hell no. You know what I mean? I could definitely get my ass whipped. I could definitely, you know, there are things that do crumble me at times. You know, I mean, when my landlord was like taking a bunch of pictures of shit, I was crumbling, bro. I was like, oh fuck, I'm at work. I'm like, I don't want to get evicted. This house is awesome. This apartment is awesome. So if I want to keep this apartment, I got to do what I got to do. So you got to take care of your due diligence. But on the side, if you're smoking cigarettes and shit like that, and you got thoughts to say, put it out there. Make a video every day. That goes for me. Like that's the thing. I might not be perfect at it, but I'm like, dude, if you really want to try to get to a place in your life where you have a decent amount of money and you can make it doing it in a way that you like doing. And it's like Jacob Jones. He's like, well, actually, this is my job right here. It's smoking and doing this. You might be like, oh, that's bad, this, that, and third. Find your own balance, brother. Find what works for you, you know. But I think that if you are trying to, even Mr. Beast said this shit. I don't like calling him Mr. Beast. Consistency, brother. Be consistent. Be consistent as much as possible. And you might form a community of brothers or people that share the same goals. You love Final Fantasy? I love Final Fantasy. I want to put more nerdy shit up. I love watching this guy named Happy Console Gamer talking about all these fucking video games that he's played and all this stuff. I love that shit. He's a wholesome ass dude from what I see on the camera, on the YouTube, the tube with the U. You know, he's wholesome. Do that. Don't try to act cool. You know, you might just come off cool, but I think somebody who's trying to act cool is trying to be a certain type of way in order to impress people. And there's a time and a place for that. I definitely do that at times. That's no lie. But there's passions within you, and we live in a time where you can upload that and you can get feedback and you can build a community and you can get subscribers and you might be even able to make money doing the things that you're doing. You know, I just people walking across the street, they don't know that I'm recording myself right now, and it's funny. But you got to push on. You got to cowboy up. Oh, I don't really think about me. Cowboy up. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. I'm never gonna see those people again. I might, but I'm not gonna know that I saw them. Who the fuck are they? You know what I mean? It's not to shit on them. Be like, who the fuck are they? But it's like, cowboy up, brother. Get to it. You know, one of the toughest jobs I ever had was working in a fish factory in Alaska. I was working in a fish factory in Alaska, and it was about a month, and it was 16 hours every day. Every day. I ended up getting fucking fired, by the way, because there was times where I was a little late. You know, it's heavy, bro. There was people that were just quitting 16 hours every single day for about a month, maybe a little longer. I was able to be there for a month. I wanted to quit so fucking bad. So bad. And I'm happy I didn't. I'm happy I didn't. I'd have rather gotten fired than quit. And I'm happy I didn't fucking quit. Happy I didn't quit. But 16 hours every day, you're getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep. If you're lucky. Some people, they're crazy. They were like drinking, like go out and stuff. I'm like, crazy. I like was smoking weed at the time, and I just stopped. I was with a girl there, and I just stopped fucking her. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get comfortable. I want to keep it going. But I realized through that, the grit and the work, and it was like it's like, I remember I tried to call off sick one time. I put fish guts in my eye because I'm like cutting fish. Somebody told me they put fish guts in their eye and they got pink eye, so they were able to get sick. They were able to get sick. I tried that, but wherever my mind was in that place, my mindset was so strong, I didn't get sick. So I tried to really fake being sick, and I remember trying to get extra sleep, and just in the back of my mind, I was like, this just felt so wrong because you're there with everybody else. They're going through the same shit as you. I remember this dude, he's outside smoking 2 cigarettes at the same time in his mouth because the stress was so fucking high, dude. The stress was so high. I can't even believe I did this shit. But the stress was so fucking high, dude. But we know what I realized from that? I realized, whoa, my body can do way more. It gives you a mental toughness, an ability to push through. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that all of the time. Once I was out, that pull of comfortability. I don't think there's anything wrong with comfort. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, but I think our definition of comfort is a little different. My phone is probably going to die at any moment, so if this video stops, it stops. But what I was trying to say to her is that our structure and our stability is incredibly important, where you can have time to rest your nervous system. But also, you actually have way more umph in you. But I've been in that place, like, such a difference because flowing around, I want to just see how much battery life I have, so I'm like prepared for this crap. It won't show me. All right, it just is what it is. Can you unblur? Can you unblur? You can do more than you think. That's the whole thing that I'm trying to say. And I know I'm going off in circles here a lot with what it is that I'm talking about, but here's what it is. Find your balance. Find your balance and what works for you. You're not infinite. You know, if you're in the spiritual community, all that stuff, they talk about you're infinite and anything is possible, everything is possible. This is delusional. I think there's good levels of delusional to have because there's some aspects of societal standards where they say you're delusional and you're not. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some things in my mind that are actually delusional. You're not infinite. You're not everything. I'm not this water bottle right here. I'm not this water bottle. Well, actually, everything's connected in the water bottle. Actually, you know, it's all connected. So technically, you also are the sun. We live in a world and a physical place. We call it physical, where I have to move my body to turn off this camera. You know, some people, they have telekinesis. They can move stuff. You know what I mean? That's a different way of tapping in. But I don't want to live on that plane. That's too much for me. And to act like I'm some, oh, dude, you're just not developed enough. I don't need to be developed enough. I don't need to be enlightened. I don't want to be what you think enlightenment is. If everything is infinite, which in a sense it probably is, but there's clearly structure, clearly the rain falls on the trees that helps them grow, and the sun comes out and helps them grow. You know, I mean, it's not just a bunch of chaos going on constantly all the time and things are just happening. You know, I mean, there's clearly structure. Clearly, God has given us a sense of structure as much as there is what you would call chaos and random shit happening, right? You know, so that applies to us from my experience. And the shit that I went through, it's just like, it's important. I think it's good to find that and quit trying to appease people that want to talk as though they're fucking enlightened and they got it all figured out. You know what we used to call them back in the day? Know-it-alls. You're a fucking know-it-all. You're walking around thinking you know it all. Fuck you. And you know what? They get hit in the face. Or they would. Or you have some bully in school just fucking with you. You know, there's a balance. Because there's something animalistic instinctually in us that's like, yo, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of my fucking face. Then be, oh, we'll see. What you just don't understand is get the fuck out of my face. Because that's not where they're living at. That's not who they're supposed to be. And they have other things to go. Yes, maybe you could learn throughout life. But like to act as though we are fully the embodiment of the highest creator. You know what's going on Mars right now? You know what's going on in Jupiter right now? Yeah, you probably fucking don't. So if you don't know that, then how could you talk as though you get it all? You know what I mean? That's why I always try to express that this is my opinion, this is coming from my experience. And I think a lot of people are on weird power trips. And I think our phones, I don't hate the phone, but a part of me loathes the shit out of it as well. You know, you're not experiencing life and you can get manipulated into thinking that you are you are God. You know, you are this infinite being. And I know I'm going on a goddamn tangent right now. But I went through a lot of those thinking points. A lot of people talking like, see, so what you need to understand is I made a good affirmation. And I used to hate doing them, but I think it's okay if they're sound and they're not putting your life in misery. But it was basically like, nobody knows everything. No one knows everything. No matter how confident they sound in what they're talking about, doesn't mean that they're right. You know what I'm saying? I could be saying shit to you, and you got to discern that. Even if I sound charismatic, magnetic, and you feel drawn to me, you feel drawn to the message I'm saying, I'm not a guru, I'm not God. I'm just speaking my experience, and some of my experience might resonate to your experiences and what you've been through, and you could take that and be like, oh, okay, yeah. Like my friend the other day, she's like, yeah, you were like trying to tell me about this girl. You were trying to tell me about this girl, and I was like kind of like listening, but I didn't really listen. But you were right. I'm like, oh God, Evan, you were freaking right. This, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, you know, I was just speaking my opinion of what I saw from what was going on. I wasn't trying to be like, dude, you need to get rid of her now. You know, if I really felt that way, that's not enough nuance so either if I were to be like, you need to get rid of her now. Why? All I can do, the best thing I can do is express my opinion on why I do not like this person, or there might be aspects of them I don't like, and there might be certain things. That's all I did. I'm like, don't look at me like I'm perfect, like I got all the answers. I don't. But I'm seeing something that's going on, and I'm like, yeah, well, from my opinion, I can see why the drama is being like this and like that. I can see why this might be the thing. And then she's like, she's coming at me the next day, she's like, I can't fuck with this shit anymore. You're fucking right, you know? And to me, I'm like, cool, because I don't want to get it all up in my mind that I'm like, I don't want to get gassed up. I'm like, that's awesome, great, okay, wow, oh shit, I was, damn, you know? That's why I don't mind it when a motherfucker's complaining sometimes. You know, I'd be like, oh, don't judge, all this type of stuff, or don't complain. These people, when they talk about ego, I know this video is total rant off, but we'll talk about the ego, right? Dude, you got an ego, or whatever you want to call it, for a fucking reason. To me, I just call it the mind. So either you need to get your ego in the right place, or your ego can go into your mind can go into a different place, and now you're focusing on these things that are probably not for your best interest. You know what I mean? I was even talking about, like, yeah, maybe you need to get a little bit narcissistic, a little bit prideful. A lot of people have these buzzwords like narcissism and all this type of stuff.